Welcome to Kevin Deal Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at the VSGO blower, and we're going to see if this thing blows. I'm pleased to announce that I'm launching 3 Capture One style packs: Metamorphic Portraits, The Sound of Silver, and Rangefinder. These will eventually also be available for Lightroom, so if you go to kevindealphotography.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and join my mailing list, I promise I won't send you spam, but I will let you know the second these release. And now, on to today's episode. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Deal Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. So I do a lot of reviews of cameras and lenses and lights on this channel, but I really want to take a bigger step into accessories that are useful for photography. And VSGO reached out to me and asked me to review this blower. And at first I was like, why do I want to review a blower? And then I thought about when I take these guys with me on shoots, the fact that I got to pull it out and push it. And, you know, I can't get a sustained amount of wind out of it. And the amount of wind that I can get is all, based on how hard I push it and how large this opening is. So there are some factors that are kind of going against me. There are some limitations of using this method. Of course, this can, get pretty small and go into a bag, but I tend to lose these and they don't get necessarily as strong as I need them to get sometimes. And as a film photographer who has a bunch of compressed air that I have to throw away and make trash with, and it takes up a bunch of space on my shelves, I was looking for a more efficient solution for cleaning dust. And then when I saw them reach out about this VSGO blower, I was like, yeah, that might actually be a really cool thing to check out. So to give you an idea, there's a couple pieces to it. And when you take it out of the box, it's going to come with some different accessories, because this isn't just a useful tool for your camera system, but you could like inflate a mattress with it or clean your keyboard with it, and that's pretty cool. But when you get it, it's not assembled like this, so it'll come in several pieces. The main part being the chassis, and then I guess this is the delivery area with the blower. And something else that you'll need to know is that when you see this part right here, you actually have to take this off and put a little filter on there. So it's a tiny little filter that catches air, and they do give you extra filters that you can use down the road when this becomes dirty. All in all, pretty straightforward. You'll take the attachment that you decide to use, and in this case, I want to use this funnel, this conic attachment on there. And then all you do is you slide this part on. Now, to take this part off, there's these little tabs on either side, and you just pinch them. Now, it does not come off easily when you pinch the tabs. You do have to put a little bit of elbow grease into that, but that's actually a good thing, because if you're holding this up, say over concrete, and you push this, you don't want it to just slide out and fall off. So you push it and you pull it out. So now let's talk about the operation of this unit. It's really simple. First and foremost, it comes with a USB-C cable, and it charges via USB-C. So that's good. It's not one of those 2007 micro ports. It's good to see that they actually took care of you and used a modern technology. To turn the unit on, you'll simply hold this button, and then on the front of the unit, you'll see 3 lights. Now that is at full power. If you want to take the power down to 2 or 1, you will, once again, push the power button. As you push the power button, it'll toggle between 1, 2, and 3 in terms of power. Then, to use the unit, there's a trigger on there, so it works kind of like a gun. Additionally, if you're in situations where it's hard to see dust, just below the power button, you hit this and a light turns on. Why is that good? Because you can see if you're getting the dust. Now, some words of warning about the operation of this, because it is important when you have something that's blowing a lot of wind like this that you use it appropriately. So right now, it's set on the 3rd level. That is the most powerful delivery of air. You do not want to use that on your CMOS sensor, especially if you have IBIS. You could do some damage to it. So you want to take this guy down to the very first setting. So I use the first setting on my really large GFX 100S sensor, which also has a floating IBIS system in it, and it works just fine. So I do recommend using setting 1 on a CMOS sensor. For lenses, they recommend 2 or 3. I always start with 2 to see if I can get off all the dust with that, and if it's being stubborn, I take it up to level 3. For film photographers who use a lot of compressed air to get dust off of their negatives, I'm happy to report that when you put this in setting 1, it's an excellent substitute for your compressed air. So if you do scan regularly, I do recommend that you check this guy out. All in all, it's been a good pleasure to have this. It just plugs right in, it charges. You can, of course, take it apart and then put it in your bag. You can go take it with you on location. And so it's a little bit bigger than a blower, but not a lot bigger than a blower. It's not as long as a blower. And really, it's not any fatter than a blower. Now, a blower can, of course, get flatter than this, but not by a lot. Also, my dog Queso likes to chew on squeeze blowers. He tends to keep this guy out of his mouth. And as I mentioned earlier, all the air that you displace is dependent on your hand. So if your hands don't have the ability to produce the explosive amount of air that you need to get dust off of something, this could be rather useless. Whereas this guy is actually so powerful that you may need to back it off in certain instances in order to protect your equipment. So with that in mind, there are several advantages that this guy offers that makes your life as a photographer a little easier. So let's talk about some things that might be some cons, and the first one would be that it is $129. When you go online and you buy a lens or something like that from B&H or Adorama, a lot of times they'll throw something like this in for free. But this guy is $129. This is absolutely a tool of convenience. And convenient it is, but for some of you, that price might be a bit too steep. Now, today's review is for the full kit, but you can get a kit with less attachments for $10 less at $119. The other thing is that it is maybe on the heavy side. It's probably about twice the weight of your phone. So that's something to keep in mind. And then the third con that I saw is that these filters, while they do give you more filters when you purchase it, I didn't easily find a place to get filters for this. I'll share a link in the description below where you can pick this guy up. Unfortunately, I could not find a link for the extra filters, so you'll have to do that search yourself. That does it for today's episode. I thank each and every one of you for watching today. What do you think about the VSGO? Tell me about that in the comments below. And if you like this channel, I humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below. And if you like my opinions about photography and videography related subjects and you want to hear them in a more unfiltered version, check out my other YouTube channel and my podcast on Apple and Spotify, the F11 Photography Podcast. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.